The Super Media Bros podcast is a founding member of the OddPods Media Network.
Super Media Bros.
Looks like we picked the right time to do this because we're about to join the Forever 27 Club. And what I mean by that is there are 27 of these movies so far.
I know, dude. It doesn't feel like it. I remember being a kid going to see the first Iron Man.
I remember going to see the first Iron Man right before my son was born. Welcome to episode 225 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Richie.
No, you're old.
I'm old.
And I'm Devin.
Right on. Yeah. So May of 2008, Iron Man hits the theaters, but we didn't know how much that was going to snowball into what we know now as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, being in phase 4, having a shitload of TV shows and fucking Netflix series and all this shit. But we're here to talk about the 27 films so far, and that is Iron Man all the way to Spider-Man No Way Home. Holy shit, that's a lot of movies. But the way we're going to do this is Devin and I actually sat down and we ranked them from, and I don't want to use the term from best to worst because that is not even a thing. Because we like these movies. I think it's more or less like, okay, these are my favorites from top to bottom. These are Devin's favorites from top to bottom. But the way we're going to do it is I'm going to borrow a tactic from my friend Lauren from over at Beard Owl. So you should go listen to her podcast too. We're going to kind of compare and contrast our lists because it would have been simple for us to just sit here and combine our forces and just come up with a list and just read them aloud where it's like, oh, these are our collective opinions on this list, where it's a lot more interesting if you hear maybe my number 19 is not the same as Devin's number 19. We may actually match up on a few of them, but who knows?
And also, my other thing that I want to just kind of put out there is this isn't necessarily what we think are the best of them, just what we enjoy the most.
Exactly.
Like, because then if you want to get nitpicky about quality and all of that stuff, then first of all, what's the fun? Secondly, completely different list. It's just, what do I like? What makes me feel happy? What brought the most emotion in general?
That's how I look at it too. Like, what was the most fun ride any of these movies took you on? Do you want to start with your number 27 or do you want me to start with my 27? Because that's how we're going to do this. We're like, one of us is going to start this list, and whatever my number 27 is, this might be Devin's number 15 for all I know, or whatever. And that's kind of how we'll do it if you want to do it that way.
I feel like our 27 is the same for the simple fact that everybody who makes this list always says this is at the bottom. Thor: The Dark World.
Mine is Eternals.
No shit.
The Eternals is my number 27. It's not that I didn't like this movie. It just, for me, it was like, okay, if it was a standalone film, oh my God, sure. But in context to the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I realized that this is going to bring along some more of the cosmic stuff. It just didn't do it for me. And that's not to say that it was a bad movie, because I quite enjoyed it, but compared to the rest of it, I couldn't put it any higher. I'm sorry for anybody out there that loves this movie.
See, I enjoyed Eternals a lot more than a lot of people for the simple fact that, and we talked about this, I'm a huge DC fan, and this kind of felt like Marvel's attempt at a DCEU film. This felt very Zack Snyder-esque, and for better or worse, I'm kind of a mark for the dude. I love Zack Snyder's work.
I do too.
And so I put Eternals at 19, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm sure Kevin Feige would be like, oh, that's rather low. Because he even said, oh, of all our films to get nominated for Best Picture, I think this is the one. This is our best film. I don't think that by a long shot. But there's quite a few that I do think it trumps over, just for me personally.
Right. It's funny that you put Thor the Dark World at 27. My 26 is Thor the Dark World.
Oh.
Because my thing about this is it's for me the one of the least memorable of the original Avengers. And it's not even the best Thor movie out of the trilogy so far. And we're getting another one coming up here in a couple months.
I would be shocked if we don't get a third Taika Waititi Thor. Because I feel like he created a new Thor trilogy. And Marvel is probably like, we finally got that fucker right. Holy shit. All right, we're going to, obviously for continuity's sake, we got to acknowledge that these 3 films, the first 2 exist. But this is kind of like a rebranding of the character.
Sure. And, okay, I'll put it to you this way. Thor the Dark World is not a good Thor movie. Thor the Dark World is a good Loki movie.
Absolutely. Now I got one for you. Because when watching Thor the Dark World, I have a good time watching it. However, I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the name of the villain in this movie?
Everybody forgets the name of the fucking villain, but it's Malekith. But everybody forgets the fucking name of this person, which is really strange because it was one of my favorite doctors on Doctor Who.
I know, but it's a directional standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, and it sucks because when you really think about it, it's kind of an important movie. Like
it should feel more important than it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to be honest. Some of these movies, when they got made, like when Malekith was there, I was sitting there going, dude, this is like an Avengers level villain. What the fuck is Thor doing on his own with this bastard? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My opinion may change of it watching it later, but I remember that was my initial thought watching that movie. I was like, dude, how are you out here by yourself? And this motherfucker looks like you need like your friends to come help you.
I feel like that's the issue with the MCU in general, though. Like, a nitpick that I have, 2 of them. One is they're definitely formulaic. I'm never bored with the formula, though. So, like I said, it's just a minor nitpick. But the big one that I have, a lot of these villains are killed off immediately. And guys like that, or Ultron even, like, these should be reoccurring characters.
Sure.
That come back with a vengeance. I'm still waiting for a second Ultron movie.
Hell, I'm fucking waiting on Red Skull to pop back up somewhere.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah. So.
But it's funny that you put The Dark World 26. I did Black Widow.
Okay.
Just because it's not that it's a bad movie by any means. It's just very cookie cutter.
I feel that.
Okay, think about it like this. It's a prequel, and she's already dead. So it's like, what stakes could there possibly be here?
Whereas for me, this was simply a movie to set up her sister taking over the mantle of Black Widow.
And I get that, but I didn't care for it. It felt like they didn't have an idea, which is weird because I think, number one, this movie was about 6 to 8 years too late.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that movie should have been Marvel's mix of Winter Soldier and the Jennifer Lawrence film Red Sparrow. That's what I wanted.
Black Widow is actually my number 21.
God damn!
Yeah, because wait till you see what I've got sandwiched between The Dark World and Black Widow. And then you're going to be like, what the fuck? Because I actually quite enjoyed Black Widow. It was a really good spy film. I enjoyed the story of her setting all the widows free and what she had to go through. Because you never really get too much of what is going on with her until you see this. Like, you get to see a different side of Natasha that you don't really see. You get to see her have fucking friends and family and shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it more depressing, knowing that she sacrificed herself in End Game.
21. My 21 is actually Iron Man 3.
Okay, well, I'll get to that one in a second.
Okay.
My number 25 is the Incredible Hulk, which I know a lot of people out there are very hot and cold on this. Sure, it definitely deserves credit for being one of the original Marvel Cinematic Universe films. I quite enjoyed Edward Norton as Bruce Banner. This felt like the Incredible Hulk television series, and I grew up on that shit and loved it. So a lot of people would be looking at me like, well, why is it so low? Because it could have been a little better than it was, to be honest with you. Like, it definitely took Hulk where he needed to go. But dare I say, we didn't get that next level Hulk until Mark Ruffalo came along.
So, first of all, Iron Man 3, I recognize that it's not stellar Marvel, but I enjoyed the aspect of them almost bringing Tony Stark back to his roots of the first one, where he's just a guy with a lot of scraps. And I enjoyed that. Plus, I'll never get tired of seeing Robert Downey Jr. cuss out a small child, call him a pussy.
Fucking funny.
Oh, it was fucking great. As far as Hulk goes, hear me the fuck out. 16.
Okay.
And the reason being, like you said, it's a lot like the television series. In fact, they almost recreated that one scene, and you know what I'm talking about with the helicopter.
Yep.
You know, I just really appreciated that. And even though Mark Ruffalo is Bruce Banner, he is Hulk, Edward Norton's actual Hulk itself looked coolest to me.
Yeah, you talking about the physical form of Hulk?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks great.
I love that model. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just a CGI battle. It's a whole lot of nothing. I still find a lot of entertainment in watching him and Abomination just duke it out.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm not, like, again, this is not a bad movie.
No.
It's just, dude, I really would have liked to have seen if Norton could have done more outside of this. So there's a little disappointment that that's all we got of him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where it just sits for me.
See, and the other thing too is like, it's almost graded on a curve because it's kind of like with Man of Steel, where a lot of people who defend that movie say, well, what's a better modern telling of this character? A solo Hulk film, save for World War Hulk or something like that. You got any better ideas?
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do. Hulk is, sad to say, almost better as a side character, kind of how he was used in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Avengers even. And that's not to say Hulk doesn't deserve his own stories and shit, but you're right. Like, what else do you do? Like, we've seen the Man on the Run. We've seen ultra superhero Hulk. We've seen Hulk get his ass handed to him by Thanos. Like, what the fuck do you do with him now?
Right. So to me, it's just like, well, I mean, this is the best you got. That's better than what I could have come up with.
Yeah.
25. Actually, okay. And it's kind of the same with Black Widow, where this is by no means bad. In fact, as far as enjoyment levels, it probably deserves better, but it's also, aside from the post-credit scene, kind of filler. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, wow.
It's not because I think it's of the same quality as Black Widow or Thor 2. It's just because, like, I've watched it twice since it came out. And both times I'm like, okay, that was really good.
Bro, you about to laugh.
Okay.
You said Hulk was your 16, right?
Uh-huh.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is my 16.
That's actually really funny.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, dude, you about to laugh. So.
No, I mean, am I wrong though? Like, because here's the thing. I know people who did skip that movie.
Really?
Yes. And it wasn't even a matter of, I didn't care for the first one. No, it was just like time escaped them and they just never got around to it. And none of them were confused.
I guess. I mean, for me, without Ant-Man and the Wasp, you don't get the fucking quantum realm.
Oh, no.
That was the biggest thing for me. I was like, okay, that is a big tie-in to the rest of the bigger picture. Because I was wondering, when I saw it in theater, I was like, okay, when are we going to get the thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, when are we going to get the thing that's going to tie this in? When it happened, I was like, oh, fuck. There it is.
And that is, okay, if you make me do this list in 3 years, this might actually jump up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have a big feeling like if we did this for every time a whole phase gets released, I guarantee you this list gets fucking jumbled.
Oh, yeah, it would. And I fully recognize that. Like, it's just at the current state that we are at. I put it there, but once you get that connective tissue, man, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But also, you got to look at them as standalone films as well.
True enough.
We can't be biased like that.
And on that note, I get to my number 24, Iron Man 2.
Same exact one.
No shit. Okay, well, so Iron Man 2, I would say, is the weakest of that trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even because of Robert Downey Jr. It's not because of I Want My Bird. It's not.
No, that's one of my favorite things from the MCU.
Absolutely. I Want My Bird.
It's one of my favorite no context things to say. It's just so amusing to me.
It's like, do you want something to drink? I Want My Bird. No. But no, seriously. Iron Man 2 kind of got lost in the whole action versus plot. They kind of just, it was just there. Does that make sense? Like, this movie felt like it was just kind of there.
It does. And the other thing, too, it's funny that this is the critique that I have with it, because when it first dropped, it's what I really liked about it being, as a 6th grader, a lot of action, and it was very polished.
Yeah, I get that.
And you come off of the first one, which almost looked completely different comparatively. And I thought, oh, this is the sequel getting bigger, you know? And as a kid, you like that. Even then, I recognized that the first one was quote unquote better, but still, I really, really like the second one a lot. And now I'm like, you almost polished it too much. It's too shiny.
Did you notice them kind of lift the whole Dark Knight Returns thing with Stark racing the fucking car?
Yeah, I did note, and not at the time, because I hadn't read the book at the time.
Yeah.
Upon rewatching it, I did catch that.
Yeah. Rich billionaire has a midlife fucking crisis and drives a fast car and gets his ass kicked by some dude with some fucking electric whip bolt things, and you're just like, okay. But I mean, that didn't happen in Dark Knight Returns, but still, it's just like, dude, the fucking billionaire racing a car. Come on now.
Hey, I'll take it.
Same. Moving along to number 23, Avengers Age of Ultron.
That is 17 for me. Okay, so this is the part where I'm like, damn, how many listeners do we usually get? Because every last one of them about to roast me.
I don't know, dude. Some of them might roast me. You never know. You might have that group of people that really love this movie come out and just torch my ass. And then you might have the group of people that don't like this movie whatsoever come torch your ass on this motherfucker.
Oh, I'm definitely getting torched.
Bruh. Okay, I'll go why mine is so low, okay? Okay, so upon the first watch, and I think everybody had this, mindset going into it on the first watch. Fuck, this is a great movie. Okay. In hindsight, Ultron was kind of a wasted villain to me in this.
Yes.
They wasted the shit out of him because I feel like Ultron should have had a bigger role in this entire franchise moving forward other than just this. This movie literally served its purpose. How you kind of said like Ant-Man and the Wasp served its purpose to be like, okay, there's the post-credit sequence. That's what we needed. This movie served the purpose of killing off a character they literally just introduced, giving us Vision, and setting up the Sokovia Accords. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking it. Other than providing more action and set pieces and this, that, and the other, and showing the Avengers working together and having been working together for a while. Right, okay. I don't really... This is not one of the MCU films that I go back and rewatch. It's just not. But I do realize people enjoy this movie, and that is not, me saying, you suck for enjoying this at all. Like what you like.
So, I guess... where I'm going to get flamed is I'm interchangeable with these. And as you were talking, I did flip them. Okay. So I'm one notch less flamed. So 23 is Captain Marvel.
Oh, God.
Hold on.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
That's not the flaming part.
Okay.
22 is the first Captain America.
Oh. Oh, God, dude. Number 17 is the first Captain America for me. Holy shit.
It's kind of like Thor the Dark World, where it's the one that I go back and watch the least.
I get that, but oof, man. That's such a good period piece film to me.
It is. Look, the thing is that I appreciate it. And every time I watch it, I do recognize that even the shots are designed to look like an old comic book of that time.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I loved Red Skull. Obviously, Chris Evans is Captain America. Sebastian Stan is Bucky. And I love that it works even as a solo film. But I look at the other Marvel movies and I'm like, yeah, but I enjoy these more.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be the argument. Like, once we start getting into the 15 and onward.
Yeah.
Because that's not to say I don't enjoy these, but...
And as far as Captain Marvel goes, a lot of people kind of poo-poo on this movie. And I always enjoyed it for the first half of it. Maybe first quarter, but all of that stuff where it's like a space war movie of sorts. Like, that one shot of them all just kind of creeping up with their guns in space and everything. I really like that. I don't know. I was on board with it at that point.
Captain Marvel is a little higher for me.
Okay.
It's number 13.
13 is actually Thor Ragnarok.
All right. Yeah, so I loved Captain Marvel. I thought that is a good way to introduce probably one of the most powerful characters in the MCU, in Marvel, period.
Right.
And my God, did Brie Larson just knock it out of the park as fucking Carol Danvers, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So good. I love that it was set in the 90s. And like you said, this big space war movie at the beginning. But I definitely like the way that they took it back a notch and they showed you some of young Nick Fury. They put him working with her, and I thought it was really good. It was a good cosmic entry in the Marvel universe.
I think a lot of people sleep on that movie. And I know it's easy to say, well, you're sleeping on it by putting it where you did. Yeah, but like I said, it's not so much shitting on it, you know? Like, I don't dislike it by any stretch.
No, I totally understand, dude. Like I said, this is going to be like a back and forth list for the two of us.
I think what it is, too, is like, for Captain Marvel, okay, if you kept the continuity of that movie, like, all those events happened, but we didn't get a film of it. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Sort of.
It's not that it's forgettable by any stretch, but I feel as though you could be told what happened.
Do you feel like the origin was longer than it was supposed to be?
Not necessarily longer, but that we as an audience didn't necessarily need it. The only thing that we needed was the attachment to her and Nick Fury, which I get that that's a huge chunk of this movie. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know how else you could have done it. So, yeah, obviously leave it. I don't know.
You need this to get to WandaVision.
Right. Like, I really did enjoy it, though. Don't think that, like, 23 is a bad thing.
It could have been worse, is all he's saying, and it's not wrong.
Yeah, like, dude, because that's the thing. Marvel, in my opinion, the MCU doesn't have any shit movies. It really doesn't. It just has the less good.
Yeah. See, like, I'm pretty sure I just said this earlier. If I didn't, I apologize. But, like, since we talked about Black Widow already and Iron Man 3, sort of, Iron Man 3 is my number 22 because Black Widow is right above it at 21 for me. Iron Man 3 was a pretty good entry, but the thing that pissed me off the most about this movie was the fucking Mandarin thing and then giving Pepper Potts the whole fucking, oh, why is she's like glowing red and shit now? And like, oh, dude, that whole final act of that movie was balls. It's like they had me. They had me in the fucking beginning, and then they had me in the hat. Like, bro, when Ben Kingsley sends that shit over and blows his fucking little San Francisco shit.
Dude, that was so sick.
My guy. I was like, oh man, Tony Stark is in deep with this motherfucker. Like he just got called the fuck out and all this other shit. And the way they were kind of setting it up where like the 10 Rings was like the terrorist organization. I was like, that is a great modern way to do it. If at the time they weren't even talking about getting very mystical just yet. I was like, that's a good way to keep it grounded. But then whenever they did the big reveal, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I get it.
It pissed me off, and I shouldn't be letting that get in my way of ranking it, but fuck, man, that really fucking just the fact that I've only seen Iron Man 3 6 times, it should be as telling, because I've seen a lot of these movies multiple times. Iron Man 3 was probably it's only better than Iron Man 2 because there was at least a cohesive enough fucking story and it's going somewhere in the future.
Right. And that's the part that does get me with Iron Man 3 was the last scene where he chunks the arc reactor and then boop, he's still Iron Man though.
Yeah.
Now refresh my memory because I'm not perfect. Did they ever explain that?
I don't remember, dude. Like I said,
even just a one-off statement. I don't recall them ever drawing attention to that.
That he just threw the arc reactor?
Yeah, and then he's back to being Iron Man, though.
Well, he probably built multiple arc reactors for his suits, and they power the suits. They don't necessarily need to power him at this point.
Yeah, that's true, but he still fucking wears it.
Eh.
I don't know. He ripped that. I'll never forget this. The first time my mom watched End Game, and he rips out the arc reactor, and she was like, oh, no. And I was like, he not gonna die. And she's like, he's not? No, it doesn't do that anymore. Like, they showed the surgery and everything. She just forgot that one tiny little thing. No big deal, but I do wonder now, like, okay, so why you have this? What you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it may have been just a design thing. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, it's just one of those weird continuity things. It's like with the Transformers movies where Bumblebee learned how to speak at the end of the first one. And then Revenge of the Fallen rolls around and he's
radioing again.
Yeah, I'm like, what? You learned how to talk.
Right. So since we did 21 already, Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man, is my number 20.
Same.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
It was an enjoyable movie though. And it was really cool because it kind of switched up the formula a bit.
Dare I say one of my favorite heist movies.
That's what I was going to say, is it switched up the formula and gave us a heist movie.
Great cast, too. Like, if you're gonna make like a heist comedy, you couldn't really ask for a better bunch of motherfuckers to be in this movie. I'll watch Paul Rudd in anything.
Oh, yeah, same. And I don't remember what movie it was, but I was at an IMAX, and they showed us that little stretch. I want to say it was like the first 10 minutes. I don't know what movie I was at, but they had a little screening of the first 10 minutes of Ant-Man.
How funny would it have been if you're in the IMAX theater and they're showing the first 10 minutes of Ant-Man, but it's so fucking tiny on the big fucking screen?
Dude, I wouldn't even have been mad.
That would have been the greatest marketing ever. Like, the IMAX screen is literally a giant magnifying glass. Just so you can see Ant-Man, like, shrunk.
Dude, that would have been
great marketing.
Sick.
I'm telling you, yeah.
In fact, I also remember being in one of my classes, and my buddy was on Tumblr, and he showed me the initial teaser poster for Ant-Man.
That poster's fucking great, dude.
Yeah, but here's the best part. He's not a comic book reader, okay? He's just a casual movie watcher. And he was like, look at this. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm really excited. He's like, you're kidding, right? And I was like, what? He goes, this is real? I was like, yes! He's like, I thought they were making fun of like Spider-Man and stuff. I thought this was like the Dragonfly from superhero movie. And I was like, no, Ant-Man is a real thing, you fucking idiot.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, but Ant-Man was a fun film.
I really enjoy it.
Moving on to number 19, Doctor Strange.
14 for me.
Right on. I'll get to my 14 in a little while when we get around to it, just to save the little surprise.
Yeah.
But, dude, Doctor Strange, fucking great cosmic entry into the Marvel Universe. I really enjoy Cumberbatch's portrayal of Stephen Strange. It's a fucking almost dead on. Like, every character that has been cast really I can't see any other actors playing them. However,
even Rhodey?
who?
Rhodey.
I don't even know who you're talking about. I obviously know who he's talking about, everybody. Jesus Christ. There can only be one Rhodey, and it's definitely not Terrence Howard. So, yeah. Fucking Doctor Strange. Okay, this is about to sound probably fucked up. What's the one thing about Doctor Strange that you remember?
The visuals.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
That too.
That is like the longest running gag in that entire fucking movie in the ass end of it. But yes, the visuals, holy shit. Great way to bring this son of a bitch to life on the big screen. However, to me, it compared to the rest of the list going forward, it didn't stack up to the rest of them. I have a very strong feeling that the Multiverse of Madness is going to rank real fucking high on my list, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be one of those sequels that's like, oh shit, they just raised the bar. And then our boy Sam Raimi at the helm already has experience with Marvel and superhero films, horror, a very mystical character is going to do some wonders. But as far as the original Doctor Strange, sure, fucking great origin. But I was sitting there kind of going, okay, a good standalone. And where does he go from here in the MCU? Because you got to think, Doctor Strange came out in 2016, dude.
We're getting old.
Well, what I'm saying is, it's been 6 years.
That's what I'm saying,
like,
man.
Shit,
fucking blink and you're done.
Yeah. Dare I say that's the longest stretch between one of the movies and its sequel?
Ooh.
Like in the MCU, not literally.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, probably.
Yeah.
They may be tied. But what was your 18? Because mine might surprise you.
The original Thor.
Mine too.
and it's the same reason of Eternals, where I liked where they took these big characters and kind of downsized them a little bit and made them feel human. Now, what I think Thor did better than Eternals is Eternals asked a whole lot of questions, didn't even try to answer them.
Yeah.
And I understand ambiguity, but let's take Alan Moore, for example. A lot of his graphic novels have that ambiguity. They ask questions that you don't get a concrete answer for, but they make sure to tell you there is no right answer.
Yeah.
Eternals is just like, well, what if? Yeah. I'm on board. What if?
That's
on to the next.
That's what we have the What If series for, goddammit.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying.
Yeah. But Thor is absolutely a fun movie. I feel like the Thor that we love now is definitely not this character.
No.
We kind of had the dumb blonde Thor in this. Really, if you think about it, he was they literally casted him like a fucking himbo.
Kind of. And it's funny because he's still like that.
Yeah, but I think he's more lovable now.
Yes.
Not that he wasn't here. He was an arrogant cunt in this movie, dude.
But that's the thing is like, you look at his arc and Peter Quill's arc arguably make the most sense because there's
a reason they are the way they are.
Yeah. And then you've got Tony Stark, for example. We all love Tony Stark.
The fact that man, and not to get off track, but like the fact that for Tony, his entire arc took 22 fucking movies.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you think about it. Not that he was in all 22, but in the span of 22 films, his entire arc as a person took that long. Peter Quill is still kind of on his arc. Thor pretty much reached his arc by the time End Game rolls around. You feel sorry for him. Like going back to look at the first Thor after seeing what he's gone through, you kind of character study his ass a little bit more.
And that's what I was getting at is Thor, he almost has a beginning, middle, and end. And you can see it with each film. Like, he grew. Whereas, like, let's look at Tony Stark. He did have his arc, and it was beautifully written. But he has moments where his narcissism gets in the way, and you sometimes forget. Or, if you wanted to get technical, you could be like, okay, the Tony Stark that we had per the end of the last film probably should not have said this.
True.
Now, that is where his own personal demons get the better of him, but that's for argument's sake. That's kind of fence-sitting.
Yeah.
Whereas Thor, if you look at his mannerisms and speech and the way that he presents himself, you can tell what movie this is just by that.
Sure. But it definitely sits probably perfectly for you and I right where it's at here.
I think it's very underrated as far as the MCU movies. People forget about the first Thor, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I do too. It definitely is underrated. I believe I've already told you that my Captain America First Avenger was 17.
Yes.
And that my Ant-Man and the Wasp was 16.
Mm-hmm.
So now this means we're getting into my top 15, and we probably haven't touched on some of the ones below 15 for you yet. So this is where it gets interesting. My number 15 is Shangji and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
No shit.
Yes. And my reasoning for that is, yes, while I loved this movie, I thought it was fucking one of the best. And for me to say one of the best and have it sit at 15 means that I think highly of the rest of this list.
Right.
Now, Shang-Chi, as we all know, could not have possibly adapted its original source material and gotten away with it in 2021 because that comic was racist as fuck. My point.
Do they have like more modernized but still like very cultural?
But here's my thing. They were able to take this character and a few characters and they made chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we got the movie we got from just the character, like they had to rewrite his whole ass fucking origin and everything. And I will tell you, like the way the 10 rings were in the comics, how they would wear them on every finger. I enjoyed the design change, how it was just like, it looked like forearm gauntlets, you know, the forearm gauntlets and all that, and how he could like shoot them off of it. Like that shit was very cool, very visually appealing. They wrote this movie, not 100% to do this, but think about it from a marketing standpoint. That is such a good toy to sell to children.
It is.
And to have the Asian community and like Asian Americans be seen, you know, like this is their dude. You know, not that we didn't have them already, but like you have like Wong from like Doctor Strange and shit, but like this opens an entire different like part of the world up. I enjoyed the way they made some of the set pieces look, especially the big fucking forest sequences and shit where they're going through that fucking trail. Dude, holy shit. And the final fight at the end, and a lot of people say, oh, this is about his dad and all this other shit. Well, like the story is about that family. It's not even just about Shang-Chi or his father. It's about that family. And it was really well told. Now, it doesn't sit higher on the list, again, because this is an introduction to this character, but it was damn good enough to be like right at 15. You know, jumping ahead of a lot of these other fucking movies.
So I went on a date during Shang-Chi, and whenever we got out, I looked at her and I was like, you can't fucking tell me that they can't have a good live-action Dragon Ball Z movie after this.
You're fucking right, dude. Because this proved visually they can do it. Look, if they can take the Bruce Lee of the Marvel Universe and put a fucking movie out about it, they can certainly fucking make a good Dragon Ball Z movie other than that piece of shit we got.
Like, even if it's just a singular Dragon Ball, like before
one ball.
Well, that's not what I mean. I'm saying like Dragon Ball Z would probably be more marketable.
What if they made the perfect Dragon Ball Z movie? But you know they gotta fuck something up. Hold on, I'm getting to it. They don't fuck up the story. They don't fuck up the characters. They don't even call it Dragon Ball Z. Somebody in the marketing department fucks up and calls it Dragon Balls.
Oh no.
Childhood ruined.
Oh no.
Dragon,
like it's a lowercase Z.
Yeah, Dragon D's nuts.
Oh fuck.
Redeem D's nuts.
But no, I put Shang-Chi at number 8, actually.
That's a good placement for it, too. Like I said, I struggled with making this list big time.
But 15, Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Since you said your number 8 was Shang-Chi, my number 8 was Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
No shit.
Yes.
Okay.
So go for your...
I'm actually shocked because I was expecting you, of all people, to put Guardians like 4 or something.
Oh, no.
Interesting.
It's definitely top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
So Guardians Volume 2 was your 15?
Yes.
Okay, that was my number 12. So I'll go ahead and talk about this one with you.
It was really good. It was really funny. But for me, the standout of it, obviously Baby Groot, but also the moments of Yondu and Rocket, Peter and his dad, and that's really it. That's the only reason why it's not higher, because to me, all of the jokes land. I like the story a whole lot, but it's not the first one.
Right. The first one is such a good film to me. The Guardians 2, it definitely packs an emotional weight to it as far as Yondu with the whole, that man may have been your father, but I'm your daddy. Like, dude, fucking Yondu, for all intents and purposes, like you would think he's a piece of shit in, the first movie and all this other shit. He's just like this scavenger ass motherfucker. He loved Peter Quill, dude. That dude fucking loved him. And that's why it is hard for me to watch this movie. This is one of the ones that makes me just fucking cry, because Peter was finally like kind of at peace with some shit, and he fucking lost him too. Not to get 100% sad, I have to leave that part of the conversation with, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That shit was fucking great.
Yeah, it was.
Was he cool? Yeah, he's cool. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. God damn, what a fucking great line. And that's the beauty of Disney owning this shit. Y'all can make all kinds of fucking references to that.
Oh yeah, that's the same with the trailer for Age of Ultron whenever they use the Pinocchio song.
I mean, Ultron pretty much was Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Sweaty sack summer is approaching, and it's time for you to prioritize the comfort of your crotch. That's why the kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. I've been testing these out, and I can honestly say it's the softest underwear I've ever had. It's so breathable that it's like gills for your groin. Manscaped has even trademarked the jewel pouch, so you know it's serious. I think it's time that you invest in your family jewels. Let your bulges breathe and get 20% off plus free shipping by using our code SUPER at manscaped.com. Let's say you're on a date and your partner catches that Manscaped logo on the waistband of your underwear. It's almost guaranteed to raise some eyebrows and act like a billboard on the highway to Pleasure Town. Because outside of just ball trimming, Manscaped is now focusing their efforts on helping out your thigh slappers in other ways with the game-changing boxers. The features on these boxers include the jewel pouch. It's a pouch designed to cradle your boys in their own special space, lined with perforated performance fabric to keep them well ventilated. Basically, just imagine your balls sipping pina coladas, chilling out in your banana hammock somewhere on a tropical beach. The micromodal fabric is soft, breathable, and it keeps your cucumber cool. Walk, run, strut. These moisture-wicking boxers breathe without breaking a sweat. And the tagless waistband hugs your body without digging in, and it lays flat against your skin to reduce chafing. The front fly opening gives easy access and makes your bathroom breaks quick and efficient. You can choose from an arrangement of designs and colors and sizes that range from small to triple extra large. Get 20% off plus free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off plus free shipping with our code SUPER at manscaped.com. Once the Boxers 2.0 touch your sack, you'll never go back. Thanks, Manscaped.
Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Richie.
I'm Little Matt.
And here in the 500 Section Lounge, we are three dads who host a family-friendly weekly podcast.
Yep, we laugh, we go on tangents, and we talk to great guests.
Tangents? I don't know what you're talking about with that. There are gases leaking?
All right, okay.
Yeah, we have legendary conversations from sports to history and everything in between.
So be on the lookout for what we do next.
And always be there to
grab a listen.
I said Captain Marvel was my 13.
Mine was Ragnarok.
Right. Okay. So moving to 14. Spider-Man Far From Home for me.
No kidding.
I told you I put my Spider-Man bias completely aside. Was this a great Spider-Man movie? You're goddamn right it was. Was it the best of the three? Not really to me. I fucking love the Mysterio portrayal. Like, that was really good. I thought it was cool that Parker started using the spider sense like he was supposed to. There was some of this that kind of felt jumbled to me, though. Far From Home was the attempt at... Okay, so Homecoming was more grounded. Let's be honest. Homecoming was like street-level Spider-Man. Cool, we want to see that. Far From Home, they tried to make the scope a little bigger, didn't quite stick the landing too much. I realize that this is a direct lead into its third part, because this is post-Avengers End Game, where we're getting Peter as just... He's sad because Tony Stark is dead, and I get following that arc, and that's, it's a good, like, because Parker is one of those characters that, for some reason, the Marvel writers just want him to suffer. Just 24/7.
Is that not the comics, though?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. Like, that character in the comics, they just want him to fucking suffer. And this movie is kind of that. I mean, granted, Far From Home, accomplishes it. No Way Home, it accomplishes it further. But, it didn't quite stick the way I was wanting it to stick. No pun intended, because of the fucking,
I thought you were intending it this whole time. Yeah,
but, still. I know a lot of people might shit on me for this one. Like, I think that's where the torch people are going to come for me is with this one. But, fear not. I can assure you that the other two the Spider-Man film rank higher in the list going forward.
That's interesting to me, because Far From Home is number 7 for me. Number 12 is Civil War.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and spoil my number 7 and my 12. Okay, wait, 12 was your Civil War?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that, so I'm going to go ahead and spoil my 7 and 11, because Civil War is my number 11, and number 7 is The Winter Soldier.
That's a hot take for me.
Captain America, The Winter Soldier, I'll get to it in a second, but yeah. So I think it's funny how close we were with Civil War being either like 11 or 12, depending on which side of the table you're sitting on. Civil War is a great movie. And it's weird, because at first I was like, why wouldn't they just make it Civil War? Why does it have to be Captain America Civil War? And then I realized upon watching this movie in theaters, fuck, this is one of the first times where the stakes are kind of high for some of these characters, man. I thought they were going to kill a couple of them in this one. It had those vibes.
And for me personally, that's kind of why I did put it lower, is because nobody did die.
Sure.
Rhodey got damn near paralyzed.
Rhodey got wrecked. He didn't get wrecked like Uncle Ben got wrecked, but he got pretty fucking wrecked.
But I don't know. I kind of wanted a little bit more of a punch with that.
Yeah, I get that. Like, you kind of wanted there to be some, not like kill somebody completely, but maybe like the consequences and casualties that come along.
The best way I can describe it, I don't remember who said it, but somebody online said it didn't feel like Civil War, felt like domestic dispute.
Yeah, you're right.
And whereas you look at the comic book, and it was so fucking big, they had spin-offs of this story. Where it's like, oh, this is a Civil War story, but it's from his point of view. It's from her point of view. I didn't feel like we needed that with this. And also, I didn't flip-flop from side to side the way that I did when reading the comic.
Yeah, I get that. Because in the comics, you really don't know who you want your allegiances to be with.
Right.
Because I'll be honest, in this, I was Team Stark.
Like, I understood where Steve was coming from. But, bro, you hiding a lot of shit.
Yeah, dude, and he's...
You're kind of sketchy for this.
He really is, dude, and he caused a lot of bullshit to happen, like, straight up. And, I'm not saying that this movie didn't deserve the Civil War title, because it absolutely did. I fucking marked out, and you know what shot I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I marked out when I saw a live action shot of the fucking comic book cover come to life.
Yep.
God damn it, dude. The fucking shield versus the pulsar rays, like right there in that fucking like cavern. Oh my God. I got chills when I saw that because I was like, oh my God, they're doing it. And I was yelling at what a piece of shit Bucky and Steve were for beating him down in that same spot. I was like, oh, it took two of you motherfucking super soldiers to whoop Tony's ass. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
And I will say this, okay? Black Panther was better suited here than he was in his own film.
Dude, and that's fucking sad to say.
It is.
And that's not discounting how great Black Panther is as a film.
No, because I actually rank it higher than Civil
it's
War.
fucking high on my list.
I rank it higher overall, but I'm talking about the character himself.
Sure, absolutely.
Was treated like more of a badass here.
As he should be.
Yeah.
This introduced him. This introduced Spider-Man into the MCU. Like, let's not forget that about this movie, which is another reason it kind of ranks a little high for me because we weren't sure that was going to happen. And then they edited them out of the trailers and all this shit. I mean, it leaked, obviously, before we went to see it in theaters. But, like, when you see it happen in theaters, it's cool. This movie also serves as, hey, origin story is just not even a thing. We know who you are. We know what you do. We know you exist. You're just here now. You're here with Uncle Tony. Let's roll this bitch forward. However, this does like turn into setting up Steve's side as, oh shit, most of those guys are going to disappear for a while. This is where Black Widow hauls ass and does her own fucking movie, which is ranked pretty low on my list, but still. I mean, it's good for what it is, but it's not. It didn't quite crack the top 10 for me. Did I tell you what my number 10 was earlier?
Ooh.
Thor Ragnarok was my number 10.
Okay. All right.
Which Thor Ragnarok to me was like an 80s comic book, 70s and 80s comic book come to life. And that's a big reason I enjoyed it. But I also enjoyed it because they let Thor be a little more loose and a little more lighthearted and a little more funny.
And it's so funny that this is the lighthearted of the original trilogy.
Dude.
Because there's so much shit that you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was one of those where it's like, oh, what a ride. And then you get to the acid and you're like, fuck.
You really start to think about it. And it's like, this is actually very depressing.
Think about the fact that Ragnarok is a fucking lead in to the big two Avengers films, for fuck's sake. My God. You know, Ragnarok carried elements of World War Hulk in it. Ragnarok introduced a few more cosmic characters. Korg, of all, being like one of my favorite fucking things in this movie, played by Taika himself. You got Grandmaster, man. Fucking Jeff Goldblum playing the fucking Grandmaster in this bitch. You know, the Thor fight with Hulk in the arena and Loki sitting there like, I have to get off of this planet because he finally sees Hulk, which is hilarious. That is a hilarious callback to the first movie, the first Avengers, where he gets his ass beaten into the fucking ground.
We'd like to take a moment to pause this. I just got a match on Tinder and she a baddie.
Hey everybody, just to let you know, Super Media Bros is also brought to you in part by Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. You can browse articles from topics that you choose and just start playing them. You can follow any topic that you like, such as sports, technology, business, science, or even Hollywood celebrity stories. It'll find the latest articles and read them to you aloud, which is really awesome considering most of us are on the go now more than ever. You can also explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries around the world. Our podcast, Super Media Bros, is on there too. You can download and use Newsly for free from newsly.me, your iOS or Android. Or you can use the link in the description below and use our code SMBcast and get a 1-month free premium subscription. That's a 1-month free premium subscription with the promo code SMBcast. With everything on the go, take Newsly with you. I'll talk about Thor Ragnarok some more while he talks about getting Thor Ragnarok hard over some fucking Tinder floozy.
Boy, she likes anime and horror movies.
What's she look like? What's she look like? At least I need to know why this is getting in the road. Holy shit. Okay. Well, No, but Thor Ragnarok is absolutely a top 10 worthy movie for me in the Marvel Universe. So my number 9 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Homecoming is actually 11 for me. Number 9 is the first Avengers.
Oh, right on.
Which is so weird to think about because I feel like that's a lot of people's number 1.
It's not my number 1. It's my number 4.
And that's a great placement. Like, I'm not going to argue with anybody if they place it higher than 9. Everything about it, I thoroughly enjoy. Save for Captain America's suit. I think it looks a little wonky now.
Yeah, and I know they did it on purpose. Like, that was kind of, if you really stop and think about it, that was the most they were going to get too traditional for him. He wakes up in 2012. He's like, yo, where's my tactical gear? And they're like, hey, man, no, we got you some spandex. Because that's what superheroes be doing right now is some fucking spandex. And, you know, he's sitting there looking around at the rest of the team like, we got a whole ass metal motherfucker. We got a chicken skin. We got a chick in some skin tight leather tactical gear. And her dude partner is in a full ass, like, sleeveless tactical gear suit with a fucking trick shot bow and arrow get up. You got a big green rage roid monster in some purple jorts looking like some fucking green John Cena. Except I can see this guy. And y'all gave me some motherfucking spandex. And then you got a dude over here with a giant fucking hammer looking like he just walked off of a fucking Shakespeare stage play. Like, y'all gave me fucking spandex. They couldn't even do them the justice of putting the wings on his motherfucking helmet, dude.
And the poor bastard even said that it gave him migraines. Poor dude. But with that all said, there's nothing wrong with the first Avengers movie.
Oh no, you've got to think about it. That first Avengers movie, it is absolutely to me a landmark in comic movie history.
Absolutely. Like, I cannot take anything away from that. This is where we get into what we were talking about earlier. Not necessarily the best or worst of these movies, just what did I enjoy the most?
Right. I saw this one 5 times in theaters when it came out. It was one of the first movies that I consistently went weekly to go back and watch.
Far From Home, I just put higher than it. Homecoming was just below it. And then in the middle between Avengers and Homecoming, Black Panther.
That's your number 9?
Yeah, really, the main reason why I put it at 9 and not a little bit higher was, and I hate to be like this, but you can tell that it wasn't finished. The CGI.
In Black Panther?
Yeah.
That's a real hot take. Yeah.
Nah, you go back and you look at that, the train fight scene. That don't look finished to me, buddy.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is, but I did read that it got rushed out.
See, Black Panther's my number 6.
And dude, plot-wise, absolutely, 100%. I don't know. That's where I put it. I feel pretty confident in that one.
We spoke about your Guardians of the Galaxy placement, didn't we?
No, because I did not cross it out. But you did say that Black Panther was your number 6. Guardians of the Galaxy is mine.
Okay. See, let's go ahead and we'll go back and forth with these two. So, like, Black Panther to me was probably, God, dude, like, think about it. So many people have clamored for a Black Panther film for fucking decades. Like, I mean, this stretches as far as my memory is concerned, this stretches all the way back to the 90s, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my memory doesn't go that far because I was just born, but no, like, and story-wise, dude, it was well worth the wait. It delivered everything that it promised, but like I said, for me, the CGI towards the end, and also, like we discussed with the Civil War review, he almost felt nerfed, and I understand that he did lose his powers for a lot of it, which also, the little subplot where he was dead, but you knew he was going to come back, but he was still... That was actually a pretty epic story. It almost gave me, like, some weird Lion King vibes.
I was about to say that same fucking thing. Holy shit.
And that's my favorite Disney movie. So, obviously, Black Panther, tailor-made for me. Love the fucking soundtrack.
Oh my God. Fuck yeah. I forgot how great that was.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Can we talk about how good of a villain Killmonger was?
Oh my God, dude.
Like, talk about perfect villain. Like, the most dangerous villain, and this goes immediately to Thanos as well. The most dangerous villain that you can have is one that makes fucking sense.
Uh-huh.
And one that not only makes sense, but 100% is concrete, not fucking budging on it.
Not only that, but Killmonger, more than any other Marvel villain that I can think of immediately, his reasoning, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty sound.
Yeah.
You're kind of being a dick about it, but
you're right.
Yeah, you making some valid points.
Yeah. That's what blew my mind the most when I saw this. Like, fuck, dude, I cannot rightfully argue with anything you're saying, but the way you're going about it, I can argue against. Like, but shit, man. And my number 8 is the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which that is one of the best MCU movies. Like, it's got heart, it's got action, it's got drama, it's got the whole fucking thing, and it's set in space, and it's got fucking Dave Bautista as Drax. I mean, he was in the second one, and all these other fucking movies we're about to talk about, but Jesus Christ, dude. What a fucking ragtag group of fucking people to put on screen.
I know. It was so good,
and
man.
Only James Gunn could hold that son of a bitch together. Fuck, what a movie.
It was everything that I wanted it to be.
And the soundtrack.
Oh, my God. You know what? I've heard people mention this with the plot itself of a ragtag group and all this other stuff. It's in space. The comparisons to Cowboy Bebop.
Fuck yeah, man.
And now that everybody always gushes about the Guardians soundtrack, but that actually is another tie-in to Cowboy Bebop that I didn't even think about, but absolutely.
Mm-hmm. It's good times, man.
Oh, yeah. Dude, love that fucking movie.
Yeah, there's really not much more I can say about Guardians of the Galaxy, except for I know for a fact that anybody out there listening to this that has watched that movie, that's got to be, and I'm not telling you how to live your life with this movie, but that has got to be top 10 for you in MCU. Got to be.
I would think so.
And see, we've covered my 7, which was the Winter Soldier, I believe, or unless we didn't really talk too much about that one.
No.
Okay.
Because for Winter Soldier, for me, is number 4, which upon writing this thing blows my fucking mind because it was number 1 for a long time.
Right. So the Winter Soldier is probably the quintessential espionage film in this universe. Like when we talked about Ant-Man being a heist film, this is fucking espionage and very well done. The whole Hydra thing, dude, like that, because you didn't know whose side anybody was on. I love that it called Steve's beliefs into question.
Mm-hmm.
Has he been really fighting for the wrong side this whole fucking time? Like, the whole thing just reeked of awesomeness. Come on. That elevator scene is iconic as shit.
Dude, and now we're getting to the nitty gritty where it's kind of like, well, shit, I really wouldn't change anything about these movies. Like, I would have kept it the exact same if I were the director.
And that was your number 4.
Yes.
My number 4 is the first Avengers movie.
And that's very fair. Number 5 is the first Iron Man.
Same.
Like, again, wouldn't really change anything. Like, the only, if gun to my head, you have to like come up with a nitpick. The last act is what would become the MCU formula big climactic battle. But everything else, like, dude, A+, just perfection. Love this movie. Love where it began. Love where it ended up. Everything.
Yeah, there's really, as far as the MCU goes, dare I say it is the perfect first introduction of a hero.
Right. Like, this is like, you can look at Iron Man and almost study it as a template for any comic book movie.
Yeah, you really can. There's a lot to this day. This came out in 2008.
Yes.
We're sitting here in 2022. And that movie, as far as its looks go and its shot and its CG, it still holds up.
Yeah, it does.
And it's fucking impressive. And Jon Favreau is one of the best fucking current directors as far as any of this shit goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that man done worked on the sequel to this. That man done worked on fucking Star Wars and Lion King, Jungle Book. He's fucking talented and really took a gamble with Robert Downey Jr. The fucking studio didn't even want him.
Which, God, think about that.
Well, I mean, you got to think about this was one of, if not the biggest high profile role at the time that he had, because he had coming off a bunch of fucking problems with alcohol
like,
and shit.
Look, if I were an executive, I probably would have said the same thing, but I'm not an executive. Like, if I were old enough to know, like, all of the ins and outs of movie making, then I as a fan would have still said, yeah, no, RDJ is probably going to knock it out of the park. But as an executive, I wouldn't want the headache. But they were wrong.
You know what my favorite thing about Iron Man is? Like, no bullshit. When you hear the opening notes of Back in Black,
yeah,
and you see the fucking line of vehicles rolling in the desert, and you just see that shot of his fucking scotch on ice, and they just pick up to him, and then that opening dialogue that he has with the fucking soldier, where he's just, you know, he's like, oh, I don't want, you know, no pictures, and he's like, I'm just kidding. Like, dude, we always talk about how well these characters are all cast with the actors that portray them. I think above all else, Robert Downey Jr., there will never, ever be another person that could play this character of Tony Stark the way that this man has. At some points, you look at Robert Downey doing interviews for this shit, and you're like, it's just Tony Stark in real life.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy because he was too good at that. He was like, and that's not even me saying it in a bad way. He was just too fucking good at playing this role.
Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool is another one.
And Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Yeah. Like that, those three right there. It's goddamn.
Well, at least Hugh Jackman, he as a man himself is a lot more laid back, kind-hearted, just a nice guy, very artsy.
True. It's like Ryan and see, I almost called him Tony. Like Ryan and Robert are almost embodying their characters outside of the role.
Hugh Jackman acts the role perfectly, but Hugh Jackman is not Logan himself. These other two, you could have fooled me.
Yeah, that line is thin. So, okay, so Iron Man is both of our 5.
Yes.
Avengers was my 4.
Winter Soldier was mine.
Okay. I am very curious about our top 3 because they are all the same movies, but placement is where I'm sitting at. My number 3 is Avengers Infinity War.
No, not for me. Mine is End Game, actually.
Okay, I think I know where Infinity War sits with you. I'm pretty positive I know where our movies are sitting now.
Yeah.
I would assume that Infinity War is your number 1.
Yes.
Spider-Man No Way Home is your number 2.
Yes.
Okay, so save for the first and second half of the Avengers films, we both sit with Spider-Man as the second best.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of assumed these were going to be our, no bullshit. When I made this list, I was like, these are going to be both of our top 3. I was just wondering what the placement was going to be. I kind of had a feeling we would be like right on the money with Spider-Man. I know the Endgame Infinity War thing is a very hotly debated topic amongst people.
Yeah, so I'm actually pretty glad that we have differing opinions.
Okay, so since Infinity War was my 3, what makes it number 1 for you? Not like, oh, what makes it number 1? But like, most people say it's because the Avengers lost, that it was their number 1.
So that does add just a little bit of icing to that cake. But for me, it was, and I'm not even, you know me, I'm not I want explosions every 2 seconds. Not that at all. But as a fan, seeing all of these characters just for like the vast majority of the runtime fighting Thanos, and this was, by all accounts, a Thanos movie.
Sure, yeah, it definitely was.
I enjoyed all of those aspects. I felt like it had a lot more to do with the characters being who they are in terms of the characters that we read. Not necessarily the people, because then we get that in Endgame.
Yeah.
To me, Infinity War is why I read comics.
Oh, sure. Fuck yeah, man. I mean, mean, these movies are why we read comics, but I can't even argue that. Like, between Infinity War and Endgame, that is why I come for these characters.
Like, I can acknowledge that Endgame is probably the more well-crafted of the two. But Infinity War, I've seen it more times.
I seen it.
Yeah, like, and I remember just, now the ending to Endgame, I remember I literally had my Apple Watch on and I was with a friend and she was like, breathe. Because we checked my pulse and they were like, you gotta fucking breathe. I couldn't. Endgame did that to me. It fucked me up. Like, I'm not even arguing. I like Infinity War best.
And I'll tell you why it's my number 3. If I knew that Spider-Man Far From Home hadn't just gotten announced, announced.
Okay.
I would have 100% bought into Spider-Man getting killed.
Yeah.
I would have 100% bought into the rest of them getting killed with the snap. I know that is a very, petty thing to say that ruined it for me, but it did. That was one of the few times where I was like, why couldn't y'all hold off announcing that fucking movie for at least a few months after this damn shit?
Well, you know what? It's not any less petty than what I said with Black Panther.
Sure.
We all have our little, nitpicks with these.
Yeah, and dude, Infinity War is a fantastic fucking movie.
Yeah, and Endgame, imagine this shit, okay? Imagine us having to convince each other, hey man, this is why it's in my top 3, not my top 1.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Out of damn near 30 movies, I'm sure we can both agree that number 3 is a superb spot.
For any of these fucking things to be in.
Fuck?
Yeah, just the fact that 3 Avengers films were in my top 5.
Dude, that's like with any time a movie gets reviewed, like whether it's an Avengers movie, Star Wars, Batman, anything. I remember I want to say it was Endgame, maybe it was Infinity War. I don't remember, but one of the YouTube reviewers that I watch said, "Oh yeah, it gets an A," and people were like, "Not an A minus, not an A plus, just an A." Yeah. What was wrong with it, motherfucker? It was an A.
Yeah.
Why are you upset?
Exactly. Come on. The A is for Avengers.
Yeah, that comes with the culture right now where it's like, if it's not the best, then it might as well be the worst.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, dude. We still love all of these.
Yeah, and I'll get to Endgame being number 1, but since we're both number 2 with Spider-Man No Way Home, I think it's pretty fucking fair to say that this is basically the Avengers Endgame of Spider-Man's entire run in the MCU. Not only that, this movie single-handedly confirms that every Spider-Man film that came before it is now MCU canon. That blows my fucking mind. It blew my fucking mind. I knew that was going to be a thing, but to really sit and say that out loud knowingly, holy shit, they didn't recast any of these fucking guys. They brought them back. We're talking about Toby and Andrew. They brought them back. They brought their villains back. The fucking actors that played them. Even if they didn't physically appear on screen, they fucking motion captured and voiced them. As a Spider-Man fan, I said way earlier, I put my Spider-Man bias off for the other films, but this is fucking a massive achievement for that character on screen. The effects shots in this were fantastic. Add Doctor Strange to the mix, and you're just like, what the fuck? This is cinema to me. This is popcorn cinema enjoyment. It is a spectacle. This does everything from tie together a story arc that started in Civil War, really technically started in 2002 with Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and it also gives some closure to this character should he not come back. And they pulled a lot of this shit off and more in the almost 2 hour and 50-minute runtime that it had. I mean, it was a pretty long fucking movie, and it deserved to be. But this right here had so much fan service as well. You had characters that came back and even developed further. The fact you got Alfred Molina back, who is the perfect Dr. Octopus. Not only did you bring him back, you brought Willem Dafoe back and you made him semi-sympathetic. And at the same time, the most dastardly evil son of a bitch, probably rivaling Thanos as far as how fucking evil he is. Even if Thanos thought he was right and doing right, Goblin is just a chaotic son of a bitch that fucking kills Aunt May. And in the next scene, he's like, what have I done? And then you're sitting there feeling sorry for the fucking guy. How did they do this shit?
I know, dude.
Like, talented acting, great writing, great direction, great everything. Like, this, the only reason it sits at number 2 is because, to me, Endgame had way more stakes involved because of the rest of the cinematic universe at hand. And moving to Endgame, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on Spider-Man. I'm trying to get this shit out of the way for Endgame because I know we're going to wax poetic about Spider-Man all fucking day.
Dude, it's just one of those things where you have my childhood, my middle school, and now my adulthood. Because think about it. The first Spider-Man movie, I was like 5. Okay?
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school.
Jesus Christ. By the time we got Amazing Spider-Man, I was in middle school. Civil War, I was a senior in high school. And then we got that trilogy all through college. Now here I am, graduated from college, and I get all 3 of them. How weird is that?
Right, like you get them at the same time, same movie, all this shit.
Yeah, it's almost like, oh yeah, your era of youth is over. So here's a little cap for it. We're going to cap it off with all 3 of them together in one movie. Any closure you needed for these characters, you got. And then we even got some reclosure for stuff that you didn't even know you wanted.
Yeah, all I have to say is Andrew Garfield stole the fucking show in this movie.
Dude, that's the thing. Like, he proved that it was just the writing was the problem.
Yeah, I never hated Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. In fact, I've said this several times on this podcast where I was sitting here going, okay, I thought Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker and a good Spider-Man, but his Peter Parker was better. I thought Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was better than his Peter Parker, whereas Tom Holland had the perfect mixture of both. But having seen No Way Home, knowing to the effect that he could take the Peter Parker character, give this motherfucker another shot. I know he just recently said he's going to step away from acting for a bit so he can just be normal for a change, but dude, the scene where he catches MJ and he just looks at her and he is just like a ball of fucking emotion. Like, dude, that man was fucking haunted until that moment. And he still will be to an extent, but have some kind of fucking redemption for himself. Oh my God. And seeing Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker finally make his peace with Doc Ock and curing him, because he looked up to that man, and that hurt to watch him die in the second Raimi Spider-Man, because that was like one of his science heroes, dude, and a friend. And it was so wonderful and heartwarming to see Doc Ock look at him and say, Parker, you're all grown up, and just be a fucking like a man and another man just mutually respecting. And you're looking at all the Spider-Man really wanting to heal these people instead of really incarcerating them or killing them. They wanted to give them a second chance. Not so much Tom Holland at first, but then he realizes that's better than becoming that type of person. It's the whole, Batman, I can't kill thing. Spider-Man is the same way.
Right.
And I'll be damned if I didn't cry multiple times during that film.
Dude, it was just so good. Like, good God. And then the way that it ended, where we're going to get that classic Spider-Man.
Oh, I know, the suit and everything. Like, if y'all want to hear us wax poetic even more, we got a whole ass episode dedicated to this movie.
Dude, like I really hope that they do another trilogy.
I do too.
And then I want a third trilogy where he comes back into the MCU. Like, dude, if Sony wants to take a swing at this on their own and make it kind of standalone,
they could.
By all means, go for it. Just don't fuck it up.
Right? And then, of course, Avengers End Game being number 1 for me, and I think a lot of other people, it's obvious why it's number 1. I mean, for fuck's sake, for a while, it topped the global box office of all time. Sales and tickets and everything, made all the money in the fucking world. was probably the biggest superhero event of all fucking time and probably ever will be. It was just a good 3-hour ride with all these characters that you sat and you watched for over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
To see their arc finally come to an end, a satisfying end, a sad end, a triumphant end, even an end with loss. They killed Tony Stark off. You literally killed the guy off that started this entire fucking billion-dollar franchise. And that goes back to saying, without that first Iron Man film being as good as it was, we get none of this list we talked about, which is why it ranked as high as it did, and which why Endgame sits at the 1. So my top 5 being Iron Man and the number 1 being Endgame, that without, naming all the other films, that's a good fucking double bread sandwich right there.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you can't have one without the other, but you damn sure cannot have what was considered and still is by a lot of people to be the greatest superhero film of all time without Iron Man 1. Endgame is just a fantastic movie all around, expertly done. The Russos killed it. Russo brothers fucking just annihilated it. It was so good. Infinity War is just as good. You literally have 2 movies that I could easily flop back and forth.
Right. Dude, like I said, top 3, there's no reason to get bent out of shape.
Exactly. I'm just curious to see where the rest of this goes from here, because spoilers for those of you that haven't watched some of the series yet, it's pretty and I actually wound up calling this on our in-game review way early the fuck on. I called the next big bad guy being Kang the Conqueror, and sure the fuck enough, this is where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see where it goes from here, because that motherfucker deals with time. So there's a big chance we could be getting, between the time shit and the multiverse shit, there's a shit ton of shit to be shit upon.
I got one for you.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm looking at this list. 27 movies. Where do you think we end up when it's all said and done? The MCU is finished. How many movies do you think we're going to have?
Easily 60. We could easily do 60 films in this entire fucking arc, but that's a lot of fucking movie.
It is.
Because if we had 3 phases with all these, fuck, man. Some of this is 4th phase, obviously, but fuck.
That would be so fucking insane.
I think we wind up getting more series than anything. I feel like that's probably where they're pushing it, with all the characters getting some series and everything, which could letting them tie it into other films, because I feel like that's how you do it. You have series that they have their own arcs and can end, and some of them spin off into films. And I don't know. I guess we'll see where this goes. I mean, maybe Kang the Conqueror is the end all be all storyline, because it seems like they're just going higher than, this is bigger than Goblin. This is bigger than Thanos. This is fucking Kang the Conqueror about to make Thanos look like a little fucking bitch ass school bully in the kindergarten age. You better be like, no, motherfucker, welcome to high school. I'm about to shove your bitch ass in a locker.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But also, I want some more of this series characters to cross over. I hope Kang isn't the only one. I would love to see Moon Knight in there. And also vice versa. I would love if Spider-Man swung in during some kind of interaction in one of these shows.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's all Disney. You're telling me that Disney can't afford Tom Holland for one day of shooting?
Not just that, but if they really wanted to, they could give Tom Holland his own Spider-Man series.
I'd be all for it. If he doesn't want to do a movie, but wants to do a series, fuck yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of places that this franchise could go, and I know we could fucking sit here all night and talk about it, but I know for a fact that, we'll be back to talk about more of these as they go. Visit supermediabrospodcast.com for past, present, and future episodes. Visit oddpodsmedia.com to check out the other shows on the OddPods Media Network. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. Buy some goddamn merchandise. You know you want to. It's summertime. It's hot as fuck. Leave us a rating and review on GoodPods, Podchaser, Apple Podcast, or Spotify. And for the love of God, come back next week. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this week. Let's get out of here, goddammit.
All right.
Until next week, I'm Richie.
I'm Devin.
Shades on.
We're off.